So money prevented us from getting the players that we really wanted this season. We are struggling a little bit, particularly up front. But the truth is, we've been kind of skirting with this for a while now. We are in a position where we're going to need to start cutting our cloth. However, we're at the start of the season. There is certainly some improvements to this squad. I still think that we can push for that top half. Whether we're going to get into those playoffs, I think it's going to be difficult. But the top half, I certainly don't think it is out of our reach. Let's see how we can make a good start in that. Well, we've actually have made a good start already because I decided not to play the first game. The first game was against the promoted side, and I felt that was probably not the best choice of game to be playing. And Bolzan managed to get the winner for us, despite Bassett getting sent off about half an hour to go. We managed to get the win. Bolzan getting the only goal of the game. We did very well in terms of keeping them out. Didn't have any significant chances, and Bolzan's goal was the only really significant chance of the entire game. Quite a dull game, not the best of ones, but a good win nonetheless at Zafarana Atnea. Of course, starting our final season at our stadium, of course. That's interesting to know that we're not going to be playing another season there now, because assuming that the stadium gets completed on schedule, we should be in the new stadium for next year. So today we're playing against Crotone, and they will hopefully be the kind of team that we could beat. They are very much a Serie B team, but as you can see here, they're 11-1. They're not necessarily considered one of the top teams in the league. So certainly a team that we could manage something special against, having made a good start to the season. Abdullah Bassett, obviously, having got sent off, will not be playing against them. So we're going to have Konate starting in midfield. And this, I think, otherwise is going to be the side. We have got the option of giving these players a rest, but I think at the moment, both of these two, Meloni and Calzola, are just about all right. We're only one game into the season in the league, so they should be fine for now. But we also have players like Colucci and like Delfini who can step in on those in those two respective positions. Delfini perhaps a little less so than Colucci. Left wing, a bit more of a problem now that Giliberti's out, but he should only be out for a short period. And Giliberti certainly will be coming into the side in some form or other at some point. So that is the team, and we will be hopefully able to record a second victory in as many games in the league. We were kind of expecting to lose the cup game, so I wasn't too upset about that. But I'm hoping that this video can be a really, really positive step in the right direction. We are going to start with this game and the next game against one of our old rivals in Foggia. We played many years in Serie C, and that's not the best of starts, with Crotone scoring an absolute belter from outside the area. Not a lot we could have done about that one, but hopefully we've got plenty of time to get our way back into this one. However, if that's a penalty, it might be a red card as well. It's not a red card, but it is a penalty, and this is not so good. This feels like the cup game, really, where we're getting slightly battered. 2 goals in just 20 minutes, and it looks to me like this is probably going to be a first league defeat of the season. Sonny finds Meloni. Bolzan goes through. Bolzan scores, perhaps having a better season than the last already. Managing another goal. Certainly, I'm hoping to see better from him after a poor season last year that made me pretty convinced we needed a striker. I couldn't find one that I could afford. Our budgets have been very, very low this year for obvious reasons and fair reasons. They've got a Flamingo playing in central defence. Love it. I've just noticed there that his wages are probably bigger than our entire squads. So if we just look at the contracts here, goodness me, look at that. You compare this to ours, look at the difference. Highest one, 166,000. You got to go down to, well, almost the end of the first page before you get, the last person on the page is the first person below our top wage. And you can see there, there's someone being paid $1 million a year in Magnani. So the fact that we're even competing with teams like this is in some ways a little bit mad, and it does show how far we've got to go. And the fact that we can't actually offer any kind of significant contracts for this level at the moment because of our budgets, and we're going to need to do something about that. Hopefully, the new stadium will improve things, but there is a long way to go yet. A couple more seasons, Serie B will put the reputation up a bit, I'm sure. Might be able to recruit better players for the kind of money that we're paying and so on, but it's certainly a worry that we're quite so far behind the rest of the league in that respect. It does show as well that we overperformed last year. We had a good year, but we've got a lot to do. Can we get an equaliser here? Diaby, Calzola, Sonny, Diaby again. Bolzan's through. Can he equalise? No, he can't. It's a shame. We are going for it. Can we try and get a last-minute equaliser, perhaps? A disaster having won the first game. It would be nice to get if we could stay unbeaten for the first couple of games. That would certainly be a very good start. Looking difficult at the moment, particularly. Oh goodness me! Ferizan makes a save off the post. Can we make one chance to just try and nick that point? I don't think we will, and that is it. But it is encouraging to see how many chances we did have. It's one of those games where it just didn't quite go our way. But it could, one of these could have gone in. You look at the chance that they had that saw them score their goal. It wasn't a good chance. We've had a lot of chances better than that. So I think you could certainly argue we were a little unlucky there. They've obviously had that one goal, which was that a penalty? Yes, it was. They scored that penalty, which took them sort of close to us. But apart from that, they're nowhere near us on XG. We're probably, I would have thought that's about a goal ahead on XG. And it does give me a good indication that we probably should be okay for a mid-table finish at least this year if we can play like that regularly. We certainly don't need to be winning every game, and we don't really need a long unbeaten run to finish mid-table. 10th, I suppose, would be the lowest that we could call an improvement. To be honest with you, if we were to finish 11th or 12th, more or less the same as last season, I'd be pretty happy with that given our budget restrictions. Hopefully next year, with the new stadium done, we can start to push that forward and improve on it. But this year, if we just stay where we are, I'm kind of going to be okay with that. So we will be back for the next game, which will be against Foggia, the rivals from Serie C. I'll see you in a second. Before we do play Foggia, just wanted to point out that I'm hoping that they've used up their luck because they've kind of done an Arsenal. 1-0 down, Bari scoring in 64th minute, and they've scored 93rd and 94th minute goal to turn the game around and win it. So hopefully they've used up all their luck and we will manage to spank them 3 or 4-0. And here we are just a few days later, and we have the game against Foggia. They are one of the biggest rivals we've had in this save in terms of just competition. We've beaten them 5 times, lost them 5 times, and drawn 5 times, mostly in Serie C. We have played them, though, last year, obviously, in Serie B. We only managed to get 1 point against them last year, though, so a bit of revenge, I think, is on the cards. You will notice that I have got a few trialists in. The problem is I can't afford them. So it was kind of a waste of time, really, which is a bit sad. But the fact is, we just don't have the money. Quite a few of these players I would quite like to get in. Mazzitelli is certainly one of them. He would have been a good addition for a season. And then Cannavo is probably good enough to, I don't know if he'd be a first choice ahead of Bolzan, but certainly to be a backup to him. You can see there is some interest in Bolzan, and I'm not entirely averse to selling him. He's not been good enough for me to think that he's definitely worth keeping. I would want to make some money on him, but if people want to spend £85,000 on him, I think I'd probably be okay with that. Would give me the flexibility to get in perhaps one more player. But this is the team today against Foggia. And you can see there are a few players who are a little bit out of form. Calzola being one of them. And in fact, actually, I wasn't going to do this, but I've just changed my mind. I'm going to bring in Colucci for him. So he can make a start today. Hopefully, this can be another win in the season. And certainly if we were to win today, it would make me feel quite confident that this is going to be a mid-table season at worst. But we do need to try and beat Foggia, which we haven't done for a few years. So it would be good to do that now. And we're off in the third game of the season, but the second game of this video, of course. In fact, the second live league game in the season. And the first proper highlight of the match so far with Glazer. Back to Diaby, Pizzoni. Passing it around nicely, as we have been for quite some time now. It's been a hallmark of this team. And Meloni is nearly there to put it away, but can't quite just squeeze it between post and keeper. Canati finds it Meloni. Papetti now on the overlap. Can he get a ball in? Meloni can. Bolzan gets a header in. Desjardins, a former keeper for us. Axel Desjardins. Borto, who's very, very disappointing. Admittedly, it was in a Serie B season that didn't go very well, but he was unbelievably disappointing, and he has gone to Foggia and done a bit better. So you got 14 clean sheets in 31 games. That's very good. That looks like it might be another penalty. It is a penalty. And Diaby is going to be sent off. He is, isn't he? Goodness me. Right, so we're probably going to be 1-0 down, and we're down to 10 men. It's not ideal. It's probably the position I can do without the easiest, because it keeps the balance of the team okay. Rocha has missed it, which is great. It leaves us in a position where actually we can probably just shut up shop to some extent and just try and go for the draw. I think at this point with 10 men, it's probably a good result. The win that we have got this season, of course, was achieved with 10 men, but it was 10 men for significantly less time than a full half. I'd be surprised if we can win today, but you never know. Papetti to Glazer. Gets the cross in, and Meloni is there, and it's 1-0. Maybe we can get another win with 10 men. It'd be quite a performance if we can win this from this position against a Foggia team that we have struggled against in the recent past. Montanari now. Can we keep it out? No, we can't. Rocca. I think probably Perizan should have done a little bit better there from Rocca. It was a long way out, that header, and he had time, and I think he should have done rather better than that. It's a bit of a shame. Let's bring Meloni off. I think he's a little bit knackered, so Delfini can come on the left wing. I'm going to bring Papetti off as well for Coccolo. We're only allowed 3 substitutes in this league, unlike the 5 that we're allowed in Serie C. Ralph Sommer can come on for Bolzan. With the red card, I'd certainly take this result. It'd be a very good result. Red card and a missed penalty, of course, for Foggia. This would be a perfectly fine result. Last minute now, and Selmo makes a very good tackle, despite the fact that he was on a yellow card. It's a bit risky, and that probably is going to be that. And I think, given the circumstances, that's a pretty good result. Would have liked to have won it, of course, but with 10 men, you take a 1-1 every single time. Sommer, that will just make it safe, and off they go. I think actually we did pretty well after the red card. If you look at what happened there, we obviously the red card happened just before half time. We scored just after, and even from then on, we weren't far off beating them. In fact, no, we beat them after that didn't we? Because they were quite a bit ahead of us at that point, and we ended up being ahead of them. So we beat them in terms of XG after that, but of course they did score. But that just shows that against a team that is clearly a Serie B side, because they were there last year, they were there again this year, we are holding our own despite being back down to 10 men, and we've done really, really well. I think I take that. I think I'm very, very pleased with it, to be honest. It's a very good result. And it leaves us in mid-table. Definitely going to need a few more wins, without a doubt. And if we could have held out against Foggia to get another win with 10 men, it would have been brilliant. But as I say, given the situation, I think that's pretty good. So we need to think about when we'll be back in terms of the league. Obviously, I'd like to get a bit into it now, so I think we'll probably wait a little while here. See who's around us in terms of people that are expected to be in that kind of mid-table zone, because I do feel like that's probably where we ought to be. I wonder if someone like Spal could be interesting. I like Spal anyway. Spal or Perugia? One of the two. Perugia are next. We can't do that. We could come back for the Spal game. I think we'll come back for Spal and Genoa. Genoa are quite a big side, obviously, Serie A in real life at the moment, I think, unless they got relegated recently. We'll have Spal and Genoa, and that will give us a nice little kind of idea of where we are with those 3 games before then. We should have a pretty good idea of where we are, perhaps heading in terms of the table. Hopefully we can pick up at least 1 more win and 1 more draw in that period. If we get 1 of each in every 3 games, I think that's going to be pretty good. That would give us 52 points, I think. And that's an improvement. Admittedly, it's not much of an improvement, but it is an improvement on last year. And that's, I suppose, and as I said earlier on, any kind of improvement on last year would be a really good thing. And that's 5 points more, so that's a significant improvement as well. We would have to do that quite a few times to get promoted, but I would certainly take that given the financial constraints we've had this year. So a win, a draw, and a defeat in every 3 games, that is kind of the target at the moment. And so hopefully when I come back and we play Spell, we will have 4 more points, and I will see you then. So a really, really, really positive video in terms of, yes, okay, we got a defeat in the middle of the win and the draw, but 4 points from the first 3 games, despite the fact that we had players sent off in both games, means that we clearly can hold our own in this league. And I do think that relegation really shouldn't be much of a worry this year. Question is how high we can go. I would absolutely take anything better than we had last year in terms of points, and that is the target that we will set ourselves. I will see you tomorrow, and we'll see if we can stay on target for that. See you then.